This is an educational video which is showing the end-to-end process on mosaic art projects for people who want to make a good living by creating custom-made mosaic art project for clients. So no fancy edits, just experience. Welcome to the first video of the mosaic art project review, and this is the first project that I want to show and talk about the important details that we have to take care about during this kind of a mosaic commission. I will try to make 100 projects, a review of 100 mosaic projects if I will have enough time to show. But for today we will start with the project, call it Alona Village Mosaic Tile Art Project made in 2005. So on this videos we will talk about, and also on today's video about this particular project, we will talk about the location, the design, and the marketing steps for this kind of a mosaic project. It's about how I've got this commission and what I did to get it, and then the workshop process. In the workshop process, we will talk about the material used to create this mosaic project, the studio where I have created this mosaic project, and the tools to create this kind of work. And then we'll talk about the construction area and the installing process. Then there, in this folder, we will take a look at the installation process of this work. And then we will talk about and look at the final view of the mosaic project. This folder is kind of important. We will talk about, this is about mistakes made on this mosaic project. It goes like mistakes during the workshop and mistakes during the installation. And then we will have managing the financing and the balance, which is also important if you are planning to make mosaic art commission and to earn money, to create a living by doing mosaic artworks and mosaic projects. So let's start. So I want to start with the final view first, which I should show you at the last, but installing the final look. Okay, this is how it looks like. It's the project made on 2005, I believe, and I have only one shot of the work. Unfortunately, we have a nice jacuzzi here, and this is a handmade ceramic tile mosaic stuff. So this is the only photo that I have, unfortunately, because at that time, we didn't have this intelligent smartphones and stuff. So whatever, I wasn't aware of how important it was to make footages and videos. I even don't have any videos. So this is the final look, and let's see how it comes to this point. The location, it was in Cyprus. Why I want to talk about the location? Because in different countries there are different type of tools and materials, and the financing stuff can be different, maybe different gluing materials and grout stuff. That's why I want to mention that this project was at the Cyprus island, and this is the only photo that I have of that house. You can see it's written in Greek. So it was a very old townhouse, how you call that. It was a great house, and it was, as you see, very historical and stuff, and it was a very old house, by the way. That's me over there. And the location, yeah. And so, by the way, it was at the south side at Cyprus, which is in the European Union right now. So the design, we talk about the design first. This is a simple drawing that I've made for the client, and he just gave me the opportunity to make my own design, which is great actually. Normally clients have some ideas and they came up with, which is not already possible to turn into a mosaic work. But this time, this client, he gave me the opportunity, which was great. So it was a modern bathroom, they told me, and he know that I was coming from Germany, so he just let me create some fine lines in here. I want to have this. I was planning to have a 3D view, some kind of simple 3D view, like, you know, and I want to stop it in here and start in there. And also here a few mosaic borders, also here on this side. And I also written the sizes, that's 25 millimeters by 25 each tile. And this I said I'm going to use 15 millimeter by 15 millimeter tiles. How I get to these numbers? Because I was able to cut them. I wasn't able to cut 10 by 10 millimeter tiles, for example, which are very teeny. So this is how I calculate the tiles according to my, is this the right word, according? You know, the tools that I have was able to cut this type of mosaics in size. So everything I calculate how many lines I will need to get this view, and I sign it and I give it to him, and he likes that and he agreed, and this is how I started. So design is kind of important to tell your client what it will look like. Almost doesn't mean it will looks like that the same, but it's important to give him a vision, because he will pay and he don't know what he is up to. So it's kind of important. This kind of a scratch, how you call that, a simple design made freehand and stuff is important. This was the final view. Let's get into the marketing steps for this kind of a mosaic project. Marketing steps for this project. Before I dive into this, I want to just make a quick talk about how does it work out for me. So this guy was actually just a counter, owner for a counter company, and we just went there to open up is to establish a company in the south side of Cyprus, which was in the European Union, which is still in the European Union. And so he came up, like he asked me what kind of business you're gonna do, and we said, well, I'm a mosaic artist and I want to do this and that. So he went like, oh, hold on, I have a construction house. So he was interested in the same minute, and he started to show up his project on paper, you know, this plan paper and stuff. And then we talked about where we can apply the mosaics and what we can do. And this is how it starts actually. There was no extra marketing or advertising, nothing. It just came naturally. So there was no extra method used to get this kind of a project. For this project I'm talking right now, it's not always like that. Most of the time you have to make advertisement and stuff, and we talk about this later on. So I did some extra things. What I'm trying to say is, it's not enough when a client just came naturally to you and something has built it up, a commission just naturally. I thought I had to make some extra things to satisfy the client, to create a difference. And I thought it was not enough just to show him the design. And I also thought, why don't you make just a sample of it? You know, a piece how it will look like as a mosaic. So I just created this with different kind of colors. So these are the 15 by 15 millimeter tiles in 4 lines. As you see, they just, you know, they fit correctly. And I also made a smaller piece. I came up with the idea that maybe this smaller size will look better than the huge one. And I also put here, it was the company Delfina Designs that we have established over there. And I put this Roman guy was our, company icon. And Service Group Project and Design was another company that we own it at that time. And here's the project name and Mr. Michalis Avram. I don't see any problems to pronounce his name. He's a great guy. He's a super guy. He's a great guy, really. And it was more easier to him at that time to decide when he see the correct tile in front of his eyes. It's different than the drawing, And so he decided to use this piece over here, not the smaller tiles. He likes the bigger one. And so this is something that you can do. It's like a storyboard in a movie. Okay, the man on the camera, behind the camera, or the woman definitely know what kind of a scene to shot when she or he sees the storyboard. And this is the same for me. To me, like when you show him the work in real sizes and in real dimensions, he definitely know how it will look like. Why this is important? It is important because if he have, for example, another idea in his head, okay, are you with me? If he was not able to see this and he was dreaming of something else because he don't know how it will look like at the end, then you can have problems to get your balance, the financing stuff. You can have troubles over there because it will come up like, this is not something that I want. I didn't imagine that it will look like this. So to solve this kind of problems, future problems, make a simple piece. It wasn't even necessary to make the whole thing. It was even enough to make a piece like, from here to here, or just a piece like that, to give him an idea, which is important. It's like kind of inner marketing. You already have almost the project, the commission, but it is good to give some support to your client, even if you know that you have the commission already. And I also have to say that he really liked it. It's simple as that. As more information you give to the client, then he feels more comfortable to spend his money on. You can support the artist if you think this video was helpful for you. You can do this by buying goods designed by the artist. Thank you.